Hey everyone, how's it going this morning? I am going to start this video without headset first, and hopefully hey everyone. Hi, how are you? I'm going to start this video, I was just saying, first without a headset, and hopefully the sound will be okay. And I am just going to wait to see when Karolyn gets on, because she and I are going to talk today about Stuffology, and I'm excited about that. And if you don't know me, I'm Nicole Kincaid, and you can find me at NicoleKincaid.com. And like I said, as soon as I see Marilyn pop in, Karolyn, I think I was mixing up like a K and an M that were like lingering in my brain. But this is going to be something I'm going to want to do more often, is have these conversations about Stuffology and have them online. And if you have a burning question about Stuffology, if you are someone who is having trouble getting through your things, or basically not getting started is a really good one, then this is going to be a conversation that I think you'll be interested in. So, boop, 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 boop. Oh, there she is. Okay. Let me just get her coming in line here. Hang on. Hi, Karolyn. Hi, Karolyn. Okay, I'm going to invite you now. It's always tricky to do this part. Sorry, people. Yes, she is watching. Okay, so this is the part where I just go down to the bottom of the screen, and then I see that you are here, so then I invite you. That's not it. Hold on. Why isn't this working? Allow your guest to request to join you as a guest. Karolyn, can you just, if there's a way for you to request to join me as a guest, that would be great. I'm just trying to like click on you and it's not letting me add you. That's making me mad. Aha, there you are. Thank you. Okay, here we go. I'm adding you. Hey!
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
In this lovely, like, drippy Seattle morning.
Exactly.
I love it though. I love this weather.
Well, it's better than the heat dome this summer. Right? Yeah.
How are you today?
Oh, yes. Again, it's just one of those Seattle Sundays.
Yeah.
Be cozy and grab your cuppa and settle in for the fall.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I don't have a cuppa right now. Where is my cuppa? That's all right. I'll get a cup after this.
What,
I did make this thing called fat meal. It's this oatmeal that my friend Tenny introduced me to, this recipe, and it's basically like oatmeal, almond milk, fruit, cinnamon, and you bake it. It's delicious.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, and then I added chocolate chips to mine. And bananas and strawberries and things like that. But
yeah.
Anyway, Karolyn, I'm so happy to have you. And the reason I wanted to talk to you today is I want to do more of these because you are someone who knows how different Stuffology is from like regular clutter clearing and tidying up kind of a thing, organizing, because you and I have done this work together. Yeah. And so I was really curious, a couple things, and you can sort of dive into what you want to respond to here. But I was wondering, for one, this is kind of funny, and I don't mean to out you, but like, it kind of took us a long time to get you to say yes to do it, And right. So that's not like a judgment or a make wrong or anything. It's just like, I always wonder, because I know people want to do this work and yet they don't say yes to it, or they don't say yes to it ever, right? They're like, I want to do it. And then I never hear from them, or it takes them a really long time to like finally want to schedule it or whatever. And so we kind of had that a little bit, but then I was really happy that you like finally invited me to come over in person. So that was my second part. Like, what was the yes in it for you that made you want to go for it? And the third thing was, then how's it going? Like, what was your experience? And if we can fit all this into like a 15-20 minute conversation, great. But I'm just super curious.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I'm like a lot of people out there, which is you want to have everything clean and tidy before you come over. Because
like
there's
people who
just so
clean
much,
before the housekeeper comes over.
right. There's so much shame for all the clutter that you have accumulated over the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and
Shame.
the problem is you think you're going to get to it, but you still don't. So I just knew that. With your reassurance that was sort of the point, was to deal with the emotional aspect of the clutter.
Yeah.
And how that is, there's a reason why there's things in your home. There's a reason why you hold on to them. There's a reason why it's hard to let go. So that's it. And I had again, how many people out there said that they were going to spend COVID cleaning out their house and never did? Right?
I think, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many different layers and levels to that. And of course, hearing all your stories over the, that you've told me about your experiences, that when people finally pulled the trigger and they actually dug in, what a transformation that was. And I'm a coach and a therapist, and so I understand this so deeply, all the emotional aspects. But I hadn't thought about what clutter that goes on in here gets outpictured out there. That's what this is about. That's what makes it really distinct and different. It's not about organizing and, only hold on to what brings you joy.
Right.
I would probably have about 3 things in my house if that were the case. Because none of this, all of this is really, I'm just ready for a big change. But what I love about your approach is that you really want people to be mindful of why it is that they're holding on to something, and also why it is that it's hard for you to let go of stuff and really sit with that. You're not telling them what to do at all. Like when you came into my house finally, it's like, okay, we did the, what do you call that? Roam
your home. Yeah.
Roam your home. So we roamed my home, and then decided on my bedroom would be the one place that I really needed to tackle that. And it wasn't the whole room. It wasn't even a big part of it. It was one small area, which was, and it's so funny because I never let people in there because it's such a freaking shrine. That's all my sacred.
I feel so privileged that you let me in there.
Yeah, but it's so funny because it's a shrine and my little monastery temple. I felt like a nun. I've been in relationship for a long while. And so this was part that I needed to shift and change the energetics of. And what I realized is there was just so much of my old life still inhabiting the space. And it's no wonder nothing was changing in that area of my life. And so we just tackled the altar part.
Yeah.
And I had, picking up each item, and you wanted me to tell the story of that.
Yeah,
right?
Feel into it.
Really feel into it. And is this something that I really want to hold on to? Or maybe I'll think about I think there was 3 piles, the yes, maybe, and no, out the
Yes,
door.
no, maybe, yeah. And
Yeah,
things are always in my work, things are always a yes if they're a maybe
right.
until they're a no. Because where we go into constraint and lack and like, oh, I'm only allowed to keep this or that, or oh, what brings me joy, is when we make ourselves get rid of things that we're not, so it's not consciousness.
Right.
You know, it's like the point is to be super conscious about like, you know, my other thing you heard me say a million times is like, you get to keep whatever you want.
Yes.
You know, and that's so important because that's what's going to be in your space, or the things that you have consciously decided you want to have.
It's so funny. As we're talking, this little message comes up. Little alert says, it's okay for me to get out of my comfort zone and get on the path of my new life.
I love that.
I know, right? The synchronicities. No,
I'm just pausing for one moment too, because this is kind of a weird way to do this and it's not intentional, but I do want to say that I introduced myself before you popped on, but this is Karolyn McKinley. She lives in Seattle, Washington. I'm very, very honored to call her my friend. And she is a therapist and a coach in this area. So I just wanted to make sure that I properly introduced you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yes.
And then I wanted to say the other day, there's just something that you were saying a few minutes ago that I kind of wanted to follow up on. And that was, I mean, I kind of want to pull this thread a little bit. And a couple of days ago, I was working with a gentleman who's getting ready to move, and he's going through like 30 years worth of stuff, and he's going from a really large space to a more modest space. And he said, we had never met before, and we worked together for the first time for about 4 hours, which was a long time, right? But there's a lot to go through. And he said, and I don't know him, so I'm saying, I mean, this is the first time I'd met him, but he said, about halfway in, he goes, why is this so hard to do without you? And I was really taken aback by that, and I really wanted to respond to him, but it was a whole conversation. But the conversation really is about, there's something that goes on when you're being witnessed around this process, I think.
Makes it much easier.
Was that your experience?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like just being able to talk about these things out loud, you know, about your things, and sort of just allow for there to be as much conversation that need be around like this object or this piece of artwork or this item of clothing or whatever, and letting it unwind all the way. And I don't think that's currently in the tidying up, organizing conversation. I think it's more of like, I've got 4 or 5 hours to get through the garage this weekend. That's what it's going to take. We're going to be done. Da, 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 da. It's not like this thing. It's not a process.
Right. Right. And that's true in therapy coaching world as well.
Mm-hmm.
And even true for myself personally is saying things out loud and being witnessed helps people actually let go.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's running around your brain and all the judgments and all of the, all the stuff.
Yeah.
And
wanting to know how it's going to go. Like, what are we doing? What do we, like, how, like, just tell me what how do I get to the answer, instead of just following that like letting that, that one piece lead to the next piece of what your thoughts are going on in your thoughts and in your emotions around what you're observing.
Right. And I think we're going to take a little segue here too. When I'm doing shadow work, yours is shadow work, what you do. And what I mean by that is we're not necessarily conscious of what we are thinking and feeling and believe about ourselves in the world. But yet it is having an impact and it's creating our reality. And so when you're bringing things to the surface, because again, you walk in your house and you're so habituated to it, you don't even see it. Right?
Yes.
At all.
So true.
Yeah.
Until you've got guests coming over.
Right. And then you're like, oh, there's the dirt and the cobwebs and like, oh my God. But but the things stay in the same place. And again, the energy stays the same, therefore, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it feels so good to go on vacation or do something, because it breaks up the routine, it breaks up the habitual
Mm-hmm.
looping that goes on in your brain that creates the same reality. And so one of the questions that I have been asking since our work together is, why is this so unsafe to let go of it? And you know,
Mm.
what would I have to believe about myself to hold on to this? And
Yeah.
yeah, really super powerful. And it's true, without you there, I slowed down on the whole bedroom thing, you know.
I'm not
So
that
this
far
is why
away.
you
You can
need,
always call me.
I know this is why you need Nicole to come in and just like do the thing from
I'm
start
curious
to
too. Like, we should maybe explore doing like a Facebook on that. Like, I mean, not Facebook, but doing like a Zoom sometime. Like, I could be there, and you could be like, if you
yeah,
didn't want to do it in person, because I'm really curious, because I do think there is something super, super powerful about. I mean, what happened with this man the other day is he was so blown away by, because he's been knowing he was going to need to move for a while now, but he hasn't been able, because he goes into overwhelm, and then we start to not be able to focus on one thing, because our system like looks at the job and just is like goes into fight, flight, or
yeah,
freeze. And so then he's been like paralyzed to like really like dive into it. And then what he ended up doing was he was like, I need you more, like, because he was so happy about, I mean, he was so like, he could feel the momentum. Like, there's a point where you kind of like, uh, and then you start going into like, oh my god, this actually feels really good. And you
yes,
start releasing that like time boundedness, or it's got to happen in this time frame, and you start actually learning a lot about yourself too.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Probably anybody out there watching worth years of therapy in a couple of days. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not actually, I'm not kidding, because again, this area of my life, I knew it needed to change, and all of that. And I've done a lot of work,
Oh yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of work, but I hadn't done this piece. And then as soon as we did that one little piece, was cleaning up my altar and all of that, and making it more like a bedroom instead of a monastery, um, is when I became really open to new relationship.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was a powerful thing to observe for me, just for, because I kept watching you have these ahas like in the moment. And I wasn't like, well, do you think that's maybe because I was just, because I didn't know, I was just staying in, I think, the energy of inquiry with you and curiosity to see what was gonna, like, where you were gonna head with it. And then it was enlightening, but it was also really, really like, oh my God.
yes, and then
But
one of the
what
things I
she's built
adore
in this
about
room.
you
What was
is
that?
your enthusiasm and your responses to it all. It made me feel really safe, and it made the process really deep and fun at the same time. So it wasn't this heavy, oh my God, I'm getting rid of all this stuff. It was just like, oh wow, yes, I really appreciate this, and yes, I can let it go. And you wouldn't even let me take it out of the room. It was all piled by the door. And
Yes.
so until we were complete,
Mm-hmm.
and then we could take it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I do that is because it's really easy for people to like break the circuitry of the process. Like, imagine if you were doing a therapy session with somebody, and their phone, and like you were really getting into it, and their phone rang, and they were like, oh, I'll just be right back, right?
Right.
So one of the things our very, very, very clever minds do when we're doing this kind of work, and we start to go into discomfort and change and the unknown, is it tries to like figure out ways to like derail us, right? Like, oh, I don't like that. Like, I want to go back to like you know, my same, right? And
Right.
so if we can get out of the environment that we're creating in that moment, and so our minds are like, perfect, I'm just going to go put this back in that other room, and then you start to disconnect from that field. And so I'm like, nope, and that's also why I love containerizing the environment to a small spot to work. It prevents people too from blowing their circuits and doing too much, because if you blow your circuits and you have a bad experience doing this process, you don't want to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're used to, I think, is like the garage is going to take 4 or 5 hours this week. We're just going to get it done, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then people are like, God, it sucked. You know, like I just felt awful. Like, it was hard work, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, they weren't having fun at it because they just knew, you know, it was going to be all this stuff that they've just been avoiding for all these years, instead of just like the magic of just taking like this little spot and just seeing what's there and going through it, like really kind of non-judgmentally, and kind of with just like this profound amount of curiosity for yourself, which is very, 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 very hard to do on your own in the beginning. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
but it's a process. So, oh my gosh, that like 20 minutes went by really fast.
Oh, that was 3 minutes. Oh my goodness.
I know. And I was wondering, like, would you like to have another one of these conversations sometime?
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And that's basically the reason I'm doing this, is because people have been saying to me out in the real world, like, back when you were doing those videos and I started doing interviews with people a year ago, they're like, would you do more of those? Like, because it's so helpful to hear what people's experiences were in the work. And then when they hear that people actually like, because there's just all of this other conversation, and I don't want to compare these two, so I'm trying to separate because they're so different, you know. And so I do need to say in some ways, like, okay, I understand what clutter clearing and organizing is, and there's also this thing called Stuffology, which is a very different process, and so why would someone want to do it? So I'm like super grateful that you were willing to have this conversation with me today.
You're welcome.
You
Yeah.
explained it really well.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, again, so transformative my experience that I invited you into a group that I was running, and they loved it. Loved it. We started with clearing the clutter to get them to a space where they could actually choose what they want to create in their life. But this was creating a lot of drag, a lot of the old reality, old identity that's tied in with the stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
You know,
so,
we didn't even cover this because I mean, like, there's just like a gazillion prongs I can go off on Stuffology. But my basic premise of Stuffology is like, if you want to know what you think and believe and about yourself and about the world, look around you, you know, because your space is you amplified. It's like a version of you, you know, existing all around you, right? And
yeah.
so what people have done so often, right, is they have created environments, but then they haven't updated the environment when they've done personal transformation work, or you know, like when they've changed, but they haven't changed their environment. So there's what I call incoherent. I don't call it, but I mean, I do call it this, but it's not my word. But it creates a field of incoherence.
Ooh, I love that.
Where it doesn't, like,
Yeah.
where who we're becoming and where we're headed no longer matches
Yes.
the environment around us. So we start feeling, so then we create agitation, irritation. We don't want to be home in our own homes anymore. And it just, like, you can correct that, you know, like bring your space with you, because your space is actually like this unbelievable powerhouse ready to work for you to then also move you forward towards your dreams and visions and goals.
We need to talk, because that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, there's just too much. That's the old that I don't even want to be here. So I just want to go hang out in coffee shops and different environments every day, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
next time you and I get together one-on-one, we'll start at your house. That's my offer to you. So.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. And as a follow-up, okay, Karolyn and I are going to wrap up, and then I am going to maybe come back or maybe do it in a little bit. But the one thing that she mentioned was roam your home. Well, she mentioned a bunch of stuff, but roam your home is an exercise. And I believe I have a link to roam your home on my YouTube channel. And so I'll post that in my, I'll post that in the video, which I'll then be sharing on my other Facebook pages and Instagram and stuff like that. So it'll get spread out. And that way, if people want to experience Roam Your Home, because it's sort of like a foundational piece of Stuffology, they can go do that. So thank
go
you,
do it, ladies and gents.
Thank you so much. I love this. I could talk about this for hours. And I'm super grateful you joined me this morning.
Thank you, hon.
All right. Bye.